Hey everyone, this is Matt from Rough Craft, the podcast.
Nope, it's not. It's not Rough Craft.
All right, 1, 2. Hey everyone, this is Matt from the Rough Craft, a podcast centered around making good stories and drinking a good beer while we do so. Is that good enough, Tommy?
We like to make rough drafts while drinking good crafts.
Oh, okay. You got to get the tagline in there. Yeah, this is part 2 of Pantheon's verdict. So I hope you enjoy. But before we get to the episode, let's make some announcements. Go ahead, Tommy. Give us our social media.
All right. As always, I'm going to go ahead and plug our social media. We got a Facebook, Twitter, and a YouTube channel, as you may know if you're here listening to it on YouTube. It's all The Rough Craft. We'll have links in the description down below, so just check those out. It'll be a lot easier just doing it that way. At some point, we'll have an Instagram going, so you guys can check us out there. We just got to wait until we're ready to post content on there. So Instagram's something new to me. I think it's new to Matt. I don't think he does that either.
No, I do not.
Eventually, we'll get to that, but for right now, we got Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So just check out the links in the description. Follow those, give us a like, a share, and get engaged. And we'll get engaged with you. We'll all get married.
Also, at 8:30 every Thursday, we do a live stream on YouTube and Twitch. Starting this week, we'll be doing a live stream on Twitch and YouTube of Gambler's Ruin Part 4. If you haven't seen that yet, go check out the archives on YouTube. Come check us out on Twitch and YouTube at The Rough Craft.
And I want to go ahead and add that we're going to try to do something a little bit different this week, and we're going to need your guys' help to make sure it happens. With the Gambler's Ruin, what we're going to try to do is actually the week before, so we're going to continue this trend, is we're going to start trying to do something called Chat's Choice. Is that what you were calling it?
Chat's Choice.
And we're gonna take a big part, and we're flipping the coin, doing the Gambler's Drawing thing, but we want to let you guys help dictate the story, almost like a choose your own adventure style thing. We want you guys to be a part of it as we create these stories, so you can feel like the end point, whatever we're doing, is you're as integral to it as we are.
All right, everyone. I hope you enjoy part 2 of Pantheon's verdict, and I hope you come check us out Thursday nights at 8:30 on Twitch and YouTube at The Rough Craft. Have a good night.
Enjoy the episode.
That's great, it starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes, an aeroplane. Lenny Bruce is not afraid. Let's go!
I always
Hey,
start.
everyone. Oh, you want to
Hey,
start?
everybody, thanks for coming.
Be my guest. No, we're going to do, yeah, that's right, never mind. We start.
Yeah, you just fucking drank like a quarter of a bottle of fucking whiskey. You probably forgot. Jesus Christ, man. All right, thanks everybody for coming to checking us out. We are The Rough Craft, a podcast sitting around creating new story ideas while drinking a nice beverage. We like to make rough drafts while drinking good crafts. I am your host, Tom. Along with me is my best friend in the whole world, Mr. Matt.
Hi, how you doing? So this is part 2 of Pantheon's verdict. I think we left off with Meneerclack coming to Earth, bringing the hammer down, which is his foot, causing a massive
I think
crack
a fissure would be a good...
to spread around the Earth. Like a fissure, yeah. It's not meant to destroy the Earth. It's just meant to shake up some things.
Like California
maybe
finally
some
just
tectonic
drifted off.
plates are shifted. California finally broke off the U.S. We have our 2 main characters, Oscar.
He's in Chicago. He's an architect who was just had the grand opening of his brand new hotel that he had made.
Right. We call that, what was that? What was the hotel name?
Plutus. Plutus,
Plutus.
named after the Greek god of wealth and prosperity.
Now, you have written a couple of rough drafts for the dramatization, isn't that correct?
That is.
Is that true?
Is that true? Two rough drafts? Yes, I've written 2 rough drafts. One for they're one and the same really. It's one for Oscar and one for Holly. Their intro. For the most part, everything we went over in the last episode, and adding to it along the way. We don't know if this is going to be. I made some changes, not necessarily changes, but I added to the story a little bit. The biggest change that I made is, as I was working on the story, we needed a reason for the gods to come back, and why they're upset with humanity, and why they're wanting to come and destroy humanity. What is it that they did that was so bad? And as I was crafting this hotel, I wanted to try to find something special about it. We kind of had the idea off air that maybe the hotel would be the focal point of why they are coming back. And it wasn't necessarily intentional. Originally, I was just trying to come up with a creative idea for the hotel. But what I did is I created, there's like this technology AI system built into it that is able to basically read your thoughts. It's in the story, you'll see that Oscar doesn't really know how it works because he just hired people that did it. He knew that they knew the technology. It's a new technology. It's 5 years in the future. But essentially, the way it works is whenever you think, the hotel is able to sense like your brainwave activity, and every person, it's like a fingerprint. Every person has a signature to their brainwave, and so the same way you would have a card key that will give you access to certain rooms and stuff that you're only privileged for, like either your hotel room or maybe certain VIP areas of a hotel. That's how this works. So in your hotel room, you could think that you want the curtains to close, and it'll instantaneously do that. If you go to the elevator will operate based off your thoughts alone. You don't have to do stuff, and it's one of the features that they do to make this what they're calling the Hotel of the Gods. And now, if you have questions, like my wife was curious, what about children? What if children are there? Do they just have free range? It's tailored for everybody. It's kind of like you would have a parental blocker on your TV or internet. Same thing here. You would have children only have certain access, and they're able to tailor it to the individual guests and what they're allowed to do and stuff. Their package. It doesn't go into all that necessarily into the thing, but that's kind of the backstory explanation of exactly how it works. We don't know if that's it yet. We'll see how it plays out, but that's kind of one of the reasons we're kind of working into the gods coming back and being angry, because the humans, this technology that they've been able to create is getting to the point where they're
close to godhood.
Yeah, they're thinking they're gods at this point, and they're like, all right, this is enough. But again, we don't know if that's the route yet. We'll see how this episode plays out.
All right, Oscar was partying on the roof when Mynheer Clack came back. He was partying on the roof, celebrating the grand opening of Plutus. Holly, on the other hand, not much has changed with her story in the draft.
No.
Mostly that her father was a bull rider, got injured, and she's working and doing contests to win to try and pay their bills.
Yeah, the way I think we talked about it before, she does contests on the weekend, works throughout the week. That's not always true. There's not a contest every weekend. So the way I kind of have it pictured is like right now, she's goes and practices almost every day. And then she goes to work and works late nights, so she gets up late whenever she can. And on the weekends, whenever there's competition, she has to go. That's kind of the setup for her right now. And like Matt said, her dad, I don't want to give you too much backstory because you can read it, but essentially her dad was a bull rider and he got injured, and now he can't really work anymore. So she's having to still live with her parents and help pay the bills and stuff like that. So that's why she's working so hard. It's more of where Oscar's more executive, high lifestyle kind of situation. She's more of a low I don't want to say low, but more of an everyman, every girl type of character that people can maybe relate to a little bit more. More down to earth, that's the word.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we start part 2, where we'll get into presumably more gods and more of the things that they're doing, let's talk about tonight's beer selection. Here's where the wooden board will go up. Go ahead and talk about your beverage tonight, Tommy.
So today I went to the beer store and I was looking around and I found a beer. Literally, I read the back of a little bit, but mostly what caught my eye was the logo, the design of it. It's called Torch Pilsner by Foothills Brewing. It's made in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's what is it? I think 5.5% Torch Pilsner. I'll read the back for you. It's got a pretty little story here, and it reads: Legend has it that well over a century ago, citizens of Western Bohemia grew so dissatisfied with their beer that they dumped it in the streets. So a new style evolved in the city of Pilsen, combining the local soft water with pale malts and earthy Saz hops, and the Bohemians were pleased. Our Pilsners adheres closely to that original style, cause we like happy Bohemians. Yeah, it seems like a neat little backstory for the beer. Looking forward to giving this a try.
Interesting beer, Tommy. For me, I decided to have a 3-year-old
Oh,
Yuengling.
shit. Yeah, you told me about this. I forgot. I was like, did you decide to have a Yuengling, or did you go to the store and say, I'll just get a Yuengling because I don't feel like going to the beer store?
Nope. I was helping my mother-in-law move this past month, and I found this in her fridge. Now, what this is a traditional Yuengling. This beer has probably been in her fridge for over 3 years, because that's probably the last time we drank over there at her house.
I do actually recall drinking a few Yuenglings over there myself. It was more than 3 years ago, but I know I have done it before.
I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to say at
Yeah.
least 3 years. So I'm going to open this beer up. And I guess the tie-in of this beer with the story is in the apocalypse, no one's going to be brewing beer anymore. Well, then someone walks in the convenience store and it's like, oh my God, a 6-pack of Yuengling. How long has it been since I had a Yuengling? 6 years? So I'm going to see what it's like to be living in an apocalypse and stumble upon a 6-year-old bottle of Yuengling. Whenever you're ready to pop these tops, man.
All right, man.
Oh, I also got a fresh 6-pack of Yuengling to compare. Let's pop the top.
Now, before we get into And before we
boy.
get into drinking these, I do have a question.
ahead.
So you took that out of the refrigerator, right? Brought it home.
Mm-hmm.
Did you re-refrigerate it? So I imagine that just because of that alone, there's probably going to be maybe a difference in taste just from that alone. But I don't know.
Okay.
I'm no gynecologist here. I can't tell you the inner workings of a beer.
All right. Go ahead and give me. Mine's gonna take longer. So yours. Go. You go ahead and do yours. I'm gonna pop the other top of my fresh one.
I'm gonna go ahead and taste this beer. This Torch Pilsner is really good beer.
Is it?
Yeah, it's got a good full flavor. I can't I'm not good at describing beers, so it's not an IPA, but you can taste the hoppiness in there. It tastes like a good full flavored beer. I can't really. This is again the best description I can give of any beer is to say this is what a beer is supposed to taste like. I can't really. I say that about a lot of beers though. So
I'm gonna take a swig of whiskey before I drink this 6-year-old Yingling.
ooh, he actually took a swig. That was surprising. Thought he was gonna finish half the bottle. I'm just kidding. Thought he was gonna finish the other half of the bottle.
All right, so here we go. It smells fucking skunky, man. But that's Yingling
Yeah.
kind of smells skunky to begin with. Salt. No, I'm just kidding. It tastes like you get that reference if you listen to our Doa Dreams. And it's like a dull Yingling flavor. It tastes like
What?
blood. maybe that's just my throat.
Wait, why'd your throat making it taste like blood? Nothing.
I don't know.
Nothing you're
Maybe- I don't
saying.
know. The fucking alcohol in here hardened to iron and just
Nothing
cut
you're
my throat
saying
up. I
is
don't know.
making me making this better. Tastes like blood, but that could just be me. Does it sound like it's
Okay.
any more alcohol or taste like it's any more alcoholic?
No, stranger. Well, I don't know. Let me have the fresh Yingling and compare. I don't know. That one kind of feels like I'm baking bread in my throat. Yeah. The fresh Yingling tastes like comparatively, it tastes like opening fresh cola. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah. I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna finish this 6-year Yingling, and I'll post the results on Twitter and
yeah.
Facebook to see if I mess my pants or blow up a toilet. But I'm gonna finish this beer off. I mean, I guess it's all right. It doesn't have an expiration. Beer doesn't
I don't
have an
think so. I mean,
expiration
that's
date.
the whole. I mean, the ferment process. I mean, like wine and stuff like that. Like you'd let that shit
That's what it is. It tastes more.
fermented. Do you know what that tastes like? I think for things, I don't know. I guess no. You would put it in a cool, dark place for a long period of time, and that's how you let things ferment. So
Yeah, because I feel like I'm getting more foam in my mouth. You know how you drink a beer and you get some
I think
residue
that
foam?
could be because you took it out and it got to room temperature, and then you put it back in. I think that's what that could be. I don't know.
Now maybe that's the whiskey talking right now, but that last sip hit me a bit hard. But anyway, so let's continue on to part 2 of the story before I die.
Well, hopefully you do. It'll fit really well in the story. A lot of clicks. I'll make sure this episode still goes up. I'll get Emily to send me your audio. You'll die, and I'll see you die, and I'm like, thank God, and I'll finish the story. I won't let your death be in vain. We'll get 2 or 3 more subscribers. Hey, you got mad at me for wanting to kill Oscar, but if you do die, that's one of the main characters dying. So to make that fit the story as well,
Really meta.
I will
really
make sure,
meta.
Oscar dies as well.
I tried another swig, man, and it's almost like a very light Guinness.
Are you enjoying it?
I'm still
I
drinking
mean,
it.
that doesn't mean you're
so
enjoying it.
I guess I am.
You're drinking whiskey like it's good, so that can't taste too bad.
All right, part 2.
Who are we starting with? Are we starting with Holly? Or are we starting with Oscar?
Well, we could start with Oscar because to keep things bouncing back and forth, or we could start with Holly just so we can just to change it up. So either one of them is totally fine. I don't care.
So we'll start with Holly, and I think after Holly, we'll focus on Oscar in the hotel and the process and what went into making that hotel and why the gods are angry at it. Maybe that'll be part 3 by the time we get there. I'm having an idea about it, and I want to see what you think about it when we get to that point.
Okay.
Holly is outside. She feels the earth rumble.
At the end of the story, she's looking at the sky the way I have it written. And she's seeing the clouds roll in. She's seeing what we described in the last episode, the lightning and stuff, the bronze sky and everything. Would she see him step out? Like, this could be happening in Chicago where, like, we were seeing Munir Clark coming and stepping out into the world. That could be happening in Chicago, and she feels the effects of it here, but she doesn't see that part because it's so far away.
Like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Now, this is what I was thinking. Yeah, maybe she can't see Munir Kalak, but everyone at the hotel can because the hotel is the focal point in Chicago. So everyone's looking up and they see this golden figure come down in Chicago, But in a place like Texas, maybe he emits a golden light, and all they see is a golden speck in the distance. Like it's a bright.
Oh.
It's not like it's not as bright as the sun, but it's a lot brighter than the moon. See what I'm saying?
I got you. Okay. So just like the sky's already kind of lighting up from this cloud and stuff, and now off in the distance, it's like similar. It's not turning into day, but almost like that beginning of I guess is it dawn?
Yeah.
Whenever the sun's coming up, almost like you see like a flash of light, but it obviously doesn't have that same effect, but they can see the light off in the distance, almost like a lighthouse or
Yeah.
something.
It's kind of like an eclipse.
If that's the case, then in Chicago, it's gonna be bright AF.
Yeah. Yeah. These people need to put on their Ray-Bans. So Holly can't see it. All she knows is there's a golden light coming in near the horizon, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
She's outside smoking a cigarette because she just got finished riding the mechanical bull, got thrown off. She's very tired, according to the draft.
Disoriented.
Yeah, disoriented.
In a sense,
Now, this is in the draft. We didn't end on this on part 1, but this is in the draft, and you'll hear it in the dramatization. She's fatigued.
Yes.
Now, everyone from the bar, all the patrons, come outside because they feel the rumble. There's like a pre-tremor. Glasses on the bar fall off. Top shelf whiskey, top shelf alcohol, just falls off. Everything is breaking. They don't know what's going on, so everyone freaks out and think it's an earthquake. Now, maybe they won't rush outside because they think it's an earthquake, so they get under the tables like we learned in school, like that was going to protect
I don't think that. Oh, maybe a few people do that, but I think for the most part, people are just. They probably will just flee the building. I think that's the basic instinct is just to flee the building.
Flee the building.
But
So-
I think some people will be able to fight that instinct and go with what they've been taught, and like you said, get under the tables and stuff.
Okay, so some people go under the table, some people go outside. And then they see this golden light. Now, this is before the stomp. This is a tremor. This is when Maniakalak is entering the atmosphere.
Okay, it's more of almost like a shockwave going through the air.
Yeah. Like a what's it called? A sonic boom. Yeah. They hear that pop in their ears. They come outside. All right, just everyone's outside. Just about everyone's outside of Stonefoot.
Yeah. I would say pretty much from like Texas all the way to the East Coast, maybe a little bit, maybe about Oklahoma to the East Coast. I would say pretty much everybody's seeing this and hearing this.
Okay.
Even though we're focusing on these two characters, this feeling, this shockwave and everything is going through like half of the United States.
Now here comes the stomp. Here comes Maniakalak's stomp. What do we want to see in front of Stonefoot? Do we want to see a crack? Like a giant mole just went right in front of the parking lot and just.
So the way I'm kind of envisioning it right now is Miraclack steps down and he causes this fissure. Mm-hmm. You see it at the hotel near the hotel in Chicago, and you'll watch it and follow it. Like, say you're watching a scene in a movie, and watch it and follow it all the way to the point where it hits Holly, or hits the area that Holly's in. So you can it's kind of like it'd be a transition as it'd be written in the story. And so I see Holly, from her point of view, she sees off in the distance. She sees the spark pop of him coming in, and like the shockwave, the foot's coming down. She can't really tell that that's what's happening, but all of a sudden, she sees like off in the distance, she sees like the kind of like what you said, just like imagine almost like a very fast mole just running through the earth, but it's more devastating than that. Mm-hmm. It's just like a crack just quickly just fissuring through the earth, going from that location towards where they are. I like the idea of it actually coming in the path that it's taking, actually splitting Stonefoot in half. So it's like right there. But if that's the case, then I think it would kill her then, because it's so close. So
I think, yeah, maybe the crack comes right under Stonefoot. The building falls into the crack. Now, it's about like from side to side, let's say about 8 feet. The building sinks in from the center, falls in and on itself. She's on the ledge, like she's standing on the ledge and watching the building fall in the crack. And so she slowly steps back as it's happening.
So would this go to the core? How far down would this crack actually go? You said you didn't want it to split the world in half.
I wouldn't say it goes to the core. I'm just saying I think it goes underneath the first tectonic plate layer. Maybe there's not lava underneath, but it's a deep crack. I mean, it's not as deep as the Mariana Trench or anything like that, but it's kind of like a sinkhole.
So just this huge rippling crack going from the site where he stomps his foot down all the way across the earth. That sort of thing happening would cause tidal waves all over the world. It would cut through the oceans and cause tidal waves. I don't think it wouldn't affect really Chicago or Texas, but definitely California, New York, the East Coast, West Coast.
We're talking mass destruction on a human scale. Maybe not a mass destruction on a god scale. So Stonefoot falls in. These characters, from their point of view, they don't really know what's going on because we're only following their 2 point of view, so we don't know what's going on around the Earth. After that, what does Holly do? Does she run to her car and try to make sure her parents are okay? Because this is a big fissure. It swallowed up her bar, or the bar she worked at.
Yeah, it's devastating enough to where you're gonna fear for your family, and right now, obviously, her parents are a real big integral part of her character. So that's the first thing she does. She goes out and she gets in her truck, and I've changed it to a truck. She gets in her truck, or no, maybe I kept it a car. So Holly runs out.
She gets in her Buick LeSabre.
All right, so Holly runs out, immediately gets in her Buick LeSabre, and she floors it heading home. She's not worried about stop signs, speed limits. Nobody's gonna hold her down. Okay, so she just floors it home. And she gets there to check and see if her parents are okay.
Okay, so she goes to her parents' house. The house is completely destroyed. What does she think? Does she think her parents are dead or what?
I would say when she first approaches and she sees the destruction of their house, she's worried that her parents are dead. I don't think we would immediately assume that. You're hoping that they're not. So you're just like, hopefully they're okay. As she starts running up towards the house, her dad's like, no, wait, don't come any closer. And he explains to her, your mother's dead. I'm trapped. I'm not getting out of here. A light pole, the earthquake caused the house to fall in. I don't know what happened. Power line fell on it. She's like, I'll come get you. I'll save you. He said, there's no way to get to me. There's, electricity just flowing all around me. You need to leave. I'm not going to make it. I don't think your mother made it. You need to go. And she's like, no, I'm not going to leave you like this. And he's like, go. And so she's like, fuck it. I'm going to go find help. And so she leaves to go find help.
Okay.
I would say she goes to
a neighbor?
neighbor's house.
Yeah.
To a neighbor. They're not there anymore. They're gone. They've done, who knows where they went. She maybe tries to go to a local fire department. Everybody's out there on calls and stuff. She can't find any help. After searching for I would say 30 minutes maybe, if that. 30 minutes would be really, really quick in that sort of time frame.
Right.
She's like, I need to go help him. I can't, we're taking too long. She goes back home and the house is in flames. I don't know if that was a gas line that had been broke, that had been ignited. I don't know what it was, but the house is in flames. Everything's in ash, and at this point, she just has to meet the harsh reality that her parents are both dead, and she needs to go, and she needs to go survive. I don't know.
Now, what does she do now?
I mean, she could go back to Stonefoot and see if there's any survivors that she can help, because she's not a helpless person. She's a hardworking person. She's trying to get through a lot of this stuff that she's dealing with in her personal life. She could go back to Stonefoot and see and meet up with some coworkers or something like that, and try to figure out what they're going to do next. What should they do now?
Well, how about this? Maybe her coworker, let's call him Jake. Or the reason Jake is a funny name is because you can check out Gambler's Ruin every 8:30 on Thursday. But Jake had the night off.
I just want to say, guys, if you didn't notice, your bathtub will never drain with a plug like that. Go ahead, Matt.
That was a hard plug. But so Jake had the night off, and maybe she goes to his house. See if he's okay.
Her and Jake, they like to do a dance. Now, it's a subtle dance.
It's like, will they, won't they dance?
No, it's they fuck each other on the week on the days that they get the opportunity. So these are lovers. They're not in a serious relationship. It's kind of almost friends with benefits, but there's a care built up. She goes to Jake's house. Her and Jake are really good friends. They're very close. They're not dating, but they're very close. And in a situation like this, even a relationship like that where you're not officially together, that sort of bond.
You still kind of have attachments.
Well, I would say that sort of bond in this situation, your parents are dead, your place of business has been destroyed. You don't have anybody else to turn to, so this person almost becomes, in a sense, the most important person. So the fact that they're just a fling, friends with benefits, right now, her desire to see him and be with him is stronger than anybody else on earth. Mm-hmm. She needs to be with him. She needs to see him. She needs something that she cares about to be around, and so she goes to his house.
Okay.
What does she find?
Let's find out in part 3, because we haven't talked about the gods at all. We got Holly, Stonefoot's gone. Her parents are presumably dead, and she goes to her lover's house.
She's seen things while she's been on the road.
Okay. What does she see?
So I'd say on the way to Jake's house at this point, it's been a few hours, and so there's other gods that have come into play at this point. And so I would say the next god, and we can get into descriptions with him later, He's released his minions onto the earth.
Okay.
And I can't describe them now. I'll get into better detail in the short story, but just they're the most unsettling creatures that I could create. And they're
Would you say they're kind of fleshy? Or are they fleshy or bony? Or I would like to describe a second god before the end of the episode.
yeah, we can go ahead and figure this out between me and you. Or we can work on the minions and we can use that to influence the god, or would you rather do the god?
No,
and
let's
then
do the
influence
minions. Yeah, let's do the minions.
You like the idea of these weird like fleshy beings?
Either fleshy or bony. I feel like there's a lot of fleshy monsters out there. Kind of like have you ever looked at the SCP stuff? And there's like the circuit cults, stuff like that. They do body horror.
Okay, well
Let's do bones.
let's do. I was gonna say a Porque no los dos kind of thing. Like they're bony skeletal figures. I'll say they run on all fours. But when I say they run on all fours, they're humanoid in stature. If they stood up, that'd be humanoid looking. But their legs are more like that of a dog, front and back legs. But they have a humanoid like chest and head and stuff like that. I think it's like a very bony, fleshy human where there's just flesh kind of like peeling off the bone. I would say these minions actually are maybe another race that the god has taken in and has turned into his minions, and that he's like starving but given everlasting life to. And so they're just in a constant. They're almost not zombies, but they're like that. Like their bodies are just decaying while they're still living and being sentient.
Necro, kind of.
Yeah, and I'd say we could actually give them multiple appendages other than just arms and legs. They could have another set somewhere. I don't know, just to kind of add almost like a spider-like quality to these characters just running around. And they're just running around, and she sees them as she's going to get Jake, or going to see Jake. And they're running around, and she's thinking she's losing her damn mind. That's the only explanation she can find. With everything that's happened to her, she's exhausted. She thinks that she's just going insane. She sees them attacking people on the streets and just ravaging their flesh, eating them, just ripping them up. Well, I wouldn't even say they're eating them. They're just killing people. They're ripping their chest open and pulling stuff out, throwing it away, and running to the next guy. Just doing. These beings don't know exactly how humanity operates, so they're doing whatever they can think logically to them makes sense to kill them.
I got an idea. Maybe their extra appendages come out of their spine, kind of like spider legs, like you said, like daddy long legs. They come out, they walk on those. They come out like spider legs, and they walk on those. And then maybe when they rip open the human, they add it to their bones, and it gives them that fleshy appearance. They add it.
They're trying to retain their form as
Either
best they can.
they're trying to retain their form, or they're trying to blend in with the humanity to kill them more quicker, kind of like agents.
Okay, we're finally getting into the horror.
Maybe Holly has a best friend that we are just now finding out about, because I'm making this up as I go along. Maybe she has a best friend named Rebecca. This bony demon angel thing has ripped enough flesh to make it look like kind of like Rebecca. Like it's trying to blend in the human society. So it finds a human, steals its face, rips its face off, puts it on its bony face, and then collects flesh from everybody else to try to patch together.
With what you're saying, the idea that I'm kind of getting is that they're running around. She sees them ravaging this body. She doesn't know what it is, and she's just kind of passing by, and she sees it grab the face and just take the face and put it on herself, her own face. And it turns and looks at her, and she sees that it's Rebecca's face.
Yeah.
And now it looks like, the way you would imagine a face being taken off somebody else and putting on like a fleshy skull of somebody else. Obviously, it's not making that. I think these characters should never, like, I know you're going with the idea of spies. I don't think they should ever look like humanity. I think people should always know.
They're not. It's not going to work. They're not going to look like anything like humanity. But they're trying to
disguise themselves, but it's not working kind of. Okay, so you see it like picking and pulling this person's face off, putting it on her own, and then as she's driving by, it looks at her, and in the distance she can see behind her it starts chasing her.
Yeah.
And this is something she's seeing all over the place. She's seeing these sort of weird fleshy creatures. So are you saying that all their appendages come out of their spine?
Besides their arms.
Their arms and legs are kind of like similar to dog's arm and legs. The torso is like a human's torso. The head and neck is like a human's head and neck. And then there's two appendages coming out of the back.
Yeah.
Up and out, kind of like imagine like spider legs.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would say these appendages have some type of a hand, maybe not similar to humans, but it has like opposable thumbs to it.
Yeah.
Creepy opposable thumbs.
It's like little pinchers, and they're picking out
parts of
skin.
the body. And I think
Yeah.
it's cool too to like also see them like grab a person's arm and just stick it onto their body. So like some of these will have just like an extra arm just sticking out. That's just
They're trying to
but
look like
them,
humanity.
They're trying to blend in as much as possible. I like these creatures. So think we got those creatures down. What is the god that controls these minions that have taken these minions from their home world and is now using them, assist them in the destruction of other? Or do you want humanity to be, or Earth to be the only planet that they deal with?
No.
Okay, cool. These are
But-
basically titans that go through the universe, building and constructing, not building planets, but they're bringing life to planets and stuff like that. And then they move on, and then now they're going back, and they're like, Earth, they failed us. We're gonna wipe it clean, and do a new one.
So let's explain this new god, who is basically the controller of these Necrons or Necros type beings.
Let's go ahead and give a name for them. I like the Necron name. It leads into the necromancy.
Necrodas.
Okay, I like that. Hold on, is that the name of the god or the minions?
I was gonna say the god, but we can name the minions.
See, yeah, that's why I thought you were saying the name of the minions. I wanted the name to actually sound more pleasant, to kind of like offset the minions from
The
the
horror.
god. The name that I come up with, Tiralai.
Tiralai.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we can try to figure out something different. But that's
No,
the name. that I'm going with
Tiralai
right
is
now.
good. So
And Tiralai, that actually could be a female god.
yeah, let's go ahead and make her a female. Well, we said in the last episode.
Yeah, they're very ambiguous, but we're going to refer to them as he, she, I think, just naturally. I think I like the idea of it being a female god. To me, it's not a sexist thing, but that makes it fucking creepy because women are supposed to be caring, nurturing. Not supposed to be, but that tends to be more in their nature. They're caring, nurturing. To have this, what has a female appearance god doing these horrible things. And it kind of fits because these creatures that she's using as minions, she cares about them.
They're her children.
Yeah, in a sense, but they're just fucking gross. So
They're
Tiralai-
fucking monsters, man. What does she look like? Look, I said in part 1, the gods are going to be beautiful looking at first and then transform into more demonic and evil looking by the end.
Yeah.
Has that transformation already started to happen?
Yeah, let's try to work that in. Well, first, we got to figure out what they look like beforehand. Do we going to stick with the golden appearance, or was that just
That was
for Manir?
Manir Kalak. Tiralai, let's say, is a woman dressed in white robes with grayish skin.
I want to keep it where they don't necessarily look like humans. I mean, they don't, not all of them at least. They don't all have, I guess, I mean, the Greek gods are, yeah, they made things within their image. So they could have, starting out, they could have like a humanoid appearance.
Well, when you think of death, what do you think of? Do you think of an animal or the Grim Reaper?
Nothing particularly, yeah. I was thinking of actually having her like an angel kind of character looking.
Yeah,
And
I was thinking
also-
a skinny woman with grayish skin and white robes.
And I would say like platinum blonde, white hair kind
Yeah,
of thing.
but-
I would say the hair. I like the idea of the hair actually being the robes, where the hair covers the whole body down, covers the chest and everything, and it's like she's completely naked, but her hair is so long it covers her body like it's a dress.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Just kind of add into more uniqueness of the character.
She has sent her minions down to Earth. So what does she look like now after a couple of hours? Has she transformed at all? Maybe just a little bit.
I would say
Maybe her eyes turn a little bit red, and then they kind of split apart, and then now she has 8 eyes, but each one is like a circle on either side of her face, 3 small ones on each side, symmetrically.
okay, so it's like her flesh was cracking and opening up to show her other eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say her hair has some of the hair started to fall out.
Mm-hmm.
So like her hair is not completely gone, but it started to thin throughout, so you can actually see through. It's almost like now her hair was where before it was like a thick robe. It's now a translucent
Mm-hmm.
kind of robe that's going on.
And her skin is getting tighter, where you can
Yeah.
see the outline of her bones.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was going. And exactly, why are these gods transitioning like this? Why?
Because at first they come in and they want humanity to perceive them as beautiful, like they're supposed to be perceived. But once they get the full realization that how humanity has failed them, they start to turn into horrific creatures, because that's what they really look like.
Okay, so they come to Earth with good intentions.
Mm-hmm.
They get there and they see what they don't like, and they start transitioning back into their actual forms, and they just start wreaking havoc on humanity.
So, well, before we keep going, because I think we were left at a good place for Holly. She sees these Necrodos eating flesh and trying to mask themselves. She's on her way to her lover's house. We described Tyrellis in the beginning forms and in her second form before we get moved to Oscar. What is Manirka like looking like?
Real quick, do we want to get her to Jake and just say she arrived at Jake's house?
Yeah, she arrived at Jake's house, but we don't know what's going on with Jake.
So for Manirklak, he's this golden god figure, sparkling with crystals and stuff. I think his could be kind of simple since he's elemental. I would say like his body starts to crack and fissure.
Looks kind of like magma.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's not anything necessarily that we would consider horrific. Maybe to other places, it's basically like the opposite of the beautifulness of the beautiful minerals that he is to the more devastating looking minerals.
He's turning more like a volcano. Like he's
and like he has like magma dripping off of his like magma flesh dripping off sort of thing. His eyes are now like a tsunami hurricane, like swirling energy in some sort of
kind of
way.
like volcano ash.
Yeah. So nothing I think that's too unpleasing to us, but who knows what fucking world they were at before.
This is I perceive this as the halfway point for their evolution. They're gonna get more horrific. So let's move to Oscar. Oscar's partying the roof. Manirkalak comes down. His foot comes down. The crack happens, but let's say it doesn't affect the hotel.
I would say it passes by in a radius that they can, or in an area that they can see it.
Maybe across the street. Maybe the buildings across the street starting to fall in.
Yeah, they see all that happening, but this, as long as the fissure's not under this hotel, as long as it's not under Plutus, the hotel sound, it shakes, it bobs and weaves, but it stays completely sound. Like thanks to Oscar and his designs, that it's been able to maintain itself through this event.
So how do you think the hotel would maybe survive this earthquake?
Well, there's the thing that I'm picturing is that I'm still trying to gather the idea. The best way that I can think of it to make it make sense is that like on certain levels, certain floors are actually empty. There's nothing there. It's just you just get past an elevator. Nobody really ever notices the hotel is actually higher than what the floors are, and the reason is because the way they have it designed is that on these floors there's actually these coiled up wires, like thick wires, like imagine like the Golden Gate Bridge and how they have those big, I don't know what you'd even call them,
right?
Thick wires that are connecting the bridge to stabilize it. And so what happens is the way I see it is like the magnitude of this thing is like double. Like they took the highest ever recorded magnitude of an earthquake and they doubled that. This is a security measure that will never be in place, they thought, but this is an event where this has happened. What then happens is these coiled up wires in these various floors just shoot out and just start wrapping around the hotel and then locking into place. There are certain set points made around the hotel underground that these are designed to lock into. And some of them I would say fail and it doesn't actually work because, there's no way to test this other than like you test it and then you implement it and hopefully it all works. But some of them, they're just on different levels of the hotel, 10, 20 of these things are just shooting out, wrapping around all over the place. If anybody's in the path of them, they're going to die. And it sets and locks into place. So you just have like these long, thick, huge wires just jutting out of the hotel everywhere, locking it into place is kind of the best way that I see it right now.
Okay, go ahead and find out what the Oscar's doing. What's he doing?
Touch base with Oscar. It's still going to involve the hotel because the way I see it is this hotel is leagues above any other hotel around. This is 5 years in the future, and still the advancements in technologies and just they want this to be not only the best hotel of its time, but the best hotel for centuries to come. Obviously, they know that probably won't happen, but that is their plan. So they put in like with the legs and wires and stuff that comes out of this thing. They have prepared for this moment without ever thinking it would happen. The apocalypse, a meteor hitting the earth, whatever it could be, they prepared for this. So this hotel could stand and always be like a bastion of humanity. Every employee here is trained for these such events. Now, of course, in reality, if 4 or 5 years had passed by, they've been running this hotel, they would do the training like once a year and they would kind of forgotten a lot of it. But this is fresh. They just got out of all this stuff. They probably did a training class before the hotel opened. Everybody's ready to react to this event. So I would say that the hotel staff and somebody like Oscar, they immediately kick into action. They don't know what this is, but they know it's fucking bad. They see the city basically almost falling around them. And so if these other hotels with these great, the other buildings that have been built to withstand, these huge earthquakes and stuff are falling, then that must mean that shit's hit the fan. So I think the first thing that Oscar would do is activate what I'm going to call, what is the name of the AI? The hotel's name Plutus. Do we want to call the AI the hotel? The real name of the hotel?
How about we call it Jupiter?
Jupiter, okay. And what is Jupiter?
That's the Roman god of wealth.
Okay, like the hotel is called Plutus, but the AI system they call Jupiter, which is that's a really good. I like that idea. And so what he does is he goes and he enacts Protocol Omega. So he says, Jupiter, activate Protocol Omega, and Omega is the last letter in the Greek alphabet. It's the last resort, sense of security, or anything that they can create. So he says, Jupiter, activate Protocol Omega. Omega goes into effect, and what this does, and that's part of the lockdown system. I would say the initial reaction, it has certain things that happens automatically, and that's like the legs coming out and everything, and the magnetism. But what this does is then the hotel, it almost becomes sentient. At no point in the story has the hotel ever actually communicated with anybody. It's all been through thought, and the hotel does it itself. But the hotel's never, it's not like Siri or Alexa. It doesn't talk with you. But at this point, it does start talking. And it comes out and it starts speaking, and it's telling everybody,
Get to the safe room.
it comes out and it starts speaking. It says, get to an elevator. And there's elevators scattered all over the place in these hotels. So there's plenty of elevators all throughout this hotel. It's built for comfort and convenience. And so, and nothing's more convenient than being on an elevator by yourself. So it comes out, Jupiter starts speaking. It says,
Get to an elevator now.
and it's speaking in a way that no other AI has ever spoken. It sounds almost human, like somebody's over an intercom talking to them, but clear as if they're right beside them. They run to these elevators, and the elevators, as soon as they get into them, it drops at a rate that is faster than any elevator can do. They drop down, and they're let out, and as soon as everybody gets out of the elevator senses it, Jupiter senses it, the hotel or the elevators then rise, shoots back to the top, and grabs more people and comes down. And it takes everybody in the hotel and transports them into the underground bunker fallout shelter. So I would say that's where it is. Oscar stands at the top of the hotel, making sure he sees everybody gone. And Jupiter, once everybody's safe, Jupiter would say,
Say, hey, everybody's safe. Everybody's in the shelter.
Everyone's accounted for.
the way it works with the thought fingerprint that they have, the brainwave fingerprint, it knows that everybody's down there.
Yeah.
Oscar's knows that he's good because that's the plan. Is Oscar can't go. Oscar is the hotel only answers to him in a situation like this. He is now in control of this hotel. He's the captain of the ship. That's the best way to put it. Oscar is at the rooftop still of this hotel. I think this is a good point to introduce the third god.
Let's introduce this third god and what's its powers and why is it affecting Chicago, or what is affecting Chicago?
We have one in Texas. We have one in Chicago and Illinois. So where's this other one? I think
I see Minerkalak focusing mostly on the whole world at the moment.
Well, but I mean, he
causing
where he
earthquakes
arrived
and
was
volcanoes.
in Chicago, or in I think that's kind of what we said in Chicago, at least in Illinois, is where he arrived. So
Yeah, you got a
so
point,
we need
yeah.
to spread them out throughout the United States. They can every effect that they put on can still reach the whole United States, but they're spreading out over the whole thing. So we got one in Illinois, one in Chicago. I think California is obviously another point.
Well, we got one in Illinois and one in Texas.
Yeah, one in Texas. Sorry, one in Texas, one in Illinois. I think California is.
How about the other one goes to Nevada?
That's what I was going to say. I think California is another good spot, but you don't want it in California. They want to make sure their area of effect is grander than just California or just one location. So Nevada.
Yeah, so either Nevada or Colorado.
Okay, so so the new one's in Nevada. I think that's a good spot.
Okay, who is going to be our POV in Nevada?
Are we going to make a new character?
Yeah, we would have to see what that god is doing
Okay, so
in that area.
if we're gonna do that, then are we through with the Oscars part 2?
Yeah, because we found out that Oscar is basically in control of this super advanced AI system in the hotel, and they're trying to basically protect everybody in there. Oscar, because Oscar doesn't really have a big part right now.
Yeah.
He there's not much he can do. All he's trying to do is trying to save people's lives. He's basically a firefighter during a raging fire. So let's go to Nevada, where the third god comes in. Before we describe the new god, let's go ahead and talk about the new character who's in Nevada. Let's call this person Charlie, because that's gender neutral. So what is Charlie's sex?
See, because when you said Charlie, I was like, that could be boy or girl, and I was hoping you were going to be the one to determine that. But no, you put it on me still.
Well, I can flip a coin.
Let's just flip a coin. I think that's the most fair way to do it.
Heads, boy, tails, girl. We write a story like this. You can come check us out 8:30 on Thursdays for Gambler's Ruin, where we flip a coin for every character's choice and every option. Tails is a girl.
Okay, so Charlie is a girl. Charlie, what's her last name?
Charlie Harrison.
Okay, so Charlie Harrison.
What kind of woman is Charlie Harrison?
I would like to try to meet in the middle. You know, the architect designing this grand hotel, and a bull rider who's struggling to make ends meet. I like the idea. Let's say Charlie's a truck driver. She lives in Nevada.
Charlie's a trucker?
Yeah, this way we then introduce. I don't know what's going to happen, but we introduce a character that can
Who can
that
travel.
Can travel. Yeah.
What's her age?
What was the age? Did we determine the ages of Oscar and Holly?
Holly's like 23. I picture Oscar around 35.
Okay, I was gonna say he's definitely not 40. He's still relatively young.
So what's Charlie?
Charlie, I think Charlie's definitely over 40. She's a
You want to say 49, 50?
let's say 48. She's definitely, as far as a trucker goes, she's a grizzled veteran. Your picture of her is very similar probably to my picture of her, so I'm gonna say that's the character I'm picking.
Probably. She's a beefy woman. She's a no nonsense beefy
Yeah.
woman who wears a trucker
What
hat.
ethnicity is she?
and
We're
everything.
just gonna say she's white, or do you want to go a different route?
I'm picturing a white woman, a white Southern woman
That's
from Georgia.
that's what I'm thinking. She's probably moved out west for.
Because her job makes her.
She's
Basically.
just. I would say she's from the south. She's traveled around enough, and Nevada is the.
I think she's in mid transport. She's transporting goods from
Okay.
Kentucky to.
So she's actually
Nevada.
from the south, but she's in the middle of Nevada, transferring stuff to California or wherever
Yeah.
it is. Okay, cool. I like that. That works. Yeah, literally, she could be from anywhere. That's cool because that takes her away from her family, so we don't have to deal with that nonsense.
We ain't got to deal with no damn kids. No kids in this story. What is the third god and what does it do?
I want it to be horrific.
We got a death god and we got an earth type god. Let's focus on something kind of abstract.
If you'll indulge me with this idea, look at the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Well, you got death, famine, disease, and war.
Yeah, and we haven't touched on any of those yet, so it's almost no reason to do that. But those all are horrific kind of things that have happened. So I was thinking, let's pick one of those and have them embody her. I think war is kind of a weird one to go with. Death is what's happening with everyone.
Disease?
Pestilence, disease is what I'm thinking. I'm seeing this god release. What I'm picturing is like a mist coming down and sweeping over Nevada that eventually sweeps over humanity. This disease could be something that transforms some humans to these. Basically, like Tirlai has these minions that come down and do her bidding. This god, they're not releasing the disease to turn people into their minions. It's the disease transforms people to help their cause, but will also kill them. So it kills them almost, again, like a zombie kind of thing.
I got an idea. How about a parasite?
Yeah, I like that. They release
like-
a parasite down on humanity. How do you describe this parasite? What is the size of this parasite? Do you want it to be microscopic?
I want it kind of big.
Big enough to see? Like, describe it in the palm of my hand. Is it bigger than my hand?
It's the size of
Size
your
of my
hand.
hand, okay.
And what it does is it comes down. What it does is Nevada gets cloudy.
What color? What
parasite
color
comes-
is this mist? This cloud that's enveloping it?
I'm thinking just white, but what do you think?
I was thinking like a hazy gray white.
Hazy
yeah,
gray
I
white?
wasn't sure if we would go in a different direction, but that works. This hazy gray white clouds coming down, but there's like specks in it. Like, I don't know what these, like, almost like a pixie dust being sprinkled over humanity in a sense. And from this, those specks,
How about I
those
like that
specks,
idea.
once they land on Earth, those specks then grow and turn into the parasites.
I like that idea, but think about it like this. Maybe if enough specks get on a human, they congregate and gather together and form a big, like, insect-looking creature that attaches itself to the back of the neck.
Okay.
And look like an insect that digs tendrils into the back of the neck and infect the brain, and then it becomes a host.
With you saying tendrils, I'm picturing them kind of like as larvae. They have tendrils that then once they form and latch onto a human body, the tendrils come out of them like almost like tentacles kind of things coming out and stabbing. Like the points of them are super sharp and they stab into the human body, I guess, attaching to their spine.
Yeah, I like that. So we kind of got an idea of what this new god is doing. Is sending parasites down, raining down on humanity.
What does it then do?
Oh,
Does it transform the humans? Do the humans remain the same? I like the idea if there's these vastly different horrific kind of things. Like you have a natural disaster happening in Chicago, demons being released in Texas, and you have a parasite infecting people in Nevada, and then who knows what these other two gods are going to do, and then it's all eventually going to be persistent throughout the whole United States. You can already see that with Manirclack, his fissures affecting the whole United States. Yeah, so what exactly is the signature of this god? Like, what are these people turning into?
Are the parasites changing them, or are they controlling them? Let's figure that out
That's what I was wanting to know. And I think kind of like the idea if you wanted these
Necrodos.
the way these Necrodos worked is you wanted them to almost be spies. Well, this could actually be the spies. You know, they could latch onto somebody's spine and then burrow into the flesh themselves, and there'll be like a little lump in the back of their neck. But other than that, you can't tell the difference between them and another person.
Are the people infected murderous, or are they trying to infect others?
I would say both. They're manipulative. Their goal is to infect others. This parasite, they can easily multiply and send themselves out into other. Like if I shook your hand, I could send enough of those particles out to them. Particles, that's the word. I think particulars. That's what particulars is. They can send these particulates out to the other person that would then go through the bloodstream and form another parasite on their spine. They could do that, and then people that are obviously like beginning, that happens a lot. But once people start getting an idea, you got to be weird. You can't trust anybody. They start being more standoffish. Then these parasite-ridden people are more aggressive. They turn into killers, and that's when the transformation will take place. You'll see this person who was normal then kind of transfer into this abomination killing machine creature.
First, let's get into the transformation, then what's going on with Charlie, and then we'll describe the god that she sees.
Sounds good.
And then I think that's where we'll end it. So we got 3 things to cover before we end it.
Sounds good.
All right, let's describe what these things
Well, I
turn
think
into.
first off, it keeps the human figure. It just
Okay.
distorts it. Like there could be things growing out of it and making it no.
How about this? The parasite in the neck starts laying eggs, so it can send the eggs into the other unsuspecting humans. So let's say they start forming lumps, like kind of like cysts on the back of their spine. When the eggs get close to hatching, they kind of become bulbous, and it kind of look. Have you ever seen a picture of Godzilla?
Yeah.
You know those fins he has on the back of his back. All right, now think about those, but kind of just round.
Yeah. So the idea that I'm thinking off of that idea is instead of them going to try to kill other humans, they don't want to kill them. They want to infect. So they get these sort of like that's what the transformation is once the parasite realizes this other person is not gonna deal with this. They're leaving. I would say something happens to their form where they can run faster. They get on all fours. I don't want to do that again because that was what we did before, but they get to where they're faster. Whatever we want to describe as that. They get these bulbous things that you're talking about on your back, and their goal isn't to kill humans. Their goal is to then run and to attach themselves to them, grab them, hold them down. The things pop and then infect the other humans.
Kind of like spores.
Yeah, and so the one creature at this point, it's kind of like a fail-safe for this creature. It's still, from the front, maybe you can still recognize it as a human, but from the back, if you saw the back of it, it's totally just
It
a
looks like
spine that has huge gashes in it and stuff, and it still creates these spores. It still continues that sort of thing. It's in that mode now. It's the next phase of it. At that point, that's all they do is they don't try to blend in anymore. They kind of do, but they're mostly just trying to just latch onto humans as they can.
I think they try to group up into condensed human populations, group up, and then try to spread as much as they can by each of them, kind of like apes. They'll sit there and start scraping at the raw flesh and the bone, trying to spread as much spores in the air as they can. So what you're seeing is in like condensed human population areas is you'll see these infected humans that are infected with the parasite scraping at the back, the raw, bloody, bony back, trying to spread out these spores into the air.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So they get in their own they get into groups of humans and then basically scratch and peel at their own flesh to do this. So do you like the idea of them running and attaching to humans and trying to do that? And then what you're saying is also another layer of that.
They're just trying to infect as much people as possible. It's a disease, it's a pestilence.
A certain number of humans are infected. It happens in this location, and then from here on out, and the further they can go, but once people start catching on to it, then they'll just start latching onto them, trying to attach to them, trying to get inside of their groups and spread it in that sort of way.
We'll do the tapeworm type of idea too. Another way they're trying to infect people is when they latch onto a uninfected host or uninfected person, they'll jerk open the jaws and like
That sounds
kinda-
gross.
and it's explained.
I like
Yeah,
that.
what they do, they jerk open the jaws, place their own mouth over the open cavity, and then the parasite will leak out of their throat and go into the other person's. I mean, it's just one of the many ways they try to infect another person.
Yeah, I like that. There's multiple ways that they infect people. There's multiple ways they can do it. I like that idea being like they're trying to run and chase down humans and latch onto them, and that being the way that they do it then. The two ways that they do it is, because originally it was just shaking a hand, it could do it. No, they don't, if they're like, hey man, how's it going? You shake their hand, and then they pull them to you, and then they regurgitate this parasite into them, and it can go in any orifice.
So let's get into
Yeah,
Charlie.
I think
What
we
is
got
she
enough
doing?
of them.
So Charlie, I would say Charlie feels the earthquake because I think the earthquake is felt around the world, and I'm thinking Charlie goes into a truck stop.
Charlie's driving down the road, this fog comes in, and she's like, what
in tarnation?
you know, that's Southerners talk.
What in tarnation?
So she's just trying to drive through this fog and whatever, and she sees a figure up on the corner, thumbs out, hitchhiking, and she picks him up and lets him in her vehicle. And so they get in the vehicle, and they're talking. She's like, what's going on, blah, 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 and, just trying to head out to California. She's like, well, great, that's exactly where I'm going. So they're riding together. And after a while, they talk, and they get, things are working out between each other, and then this person's infected, obviously. And so this person, while she's driving, tries to latch onto her, and she has to fight him off while she's driving. And eventually she does. She's successful when she kicks them out of the vehicle. And she sees in the distance the person chasing after her at a speed. It's almost able to stay caught up to the vehicle, and it's just scratching at its own flesh, and the spores going. She can't really notice the spores coming out because everything's this mist around her. And she's like, what the fuck's going on here? And she's like freaking out and stuff. So she's like, I'm not picking up anything. And so her plan is at this point to do what?
She picks this person up. They start fighting. Now the question is does she get infected? I would
don't
say
think
not.
She gets infected. Not now, at least.
Well, let's say her being a good old Southern girl, she carries heat when she's driving her truck.
She's definitely packing heat.
Pulls out her gun.
What kind of gun does she have? What's Charlie toting?
I would say no, it's not really stereotypical. So we're not gonna go with a 6-shooter or anything like that. We're gonna go, let's say a 9mm. 9mm, whatever brand.
I don't know if this is a 9mm, but I'd say just like a little Ruger or something like that. Just something she can carry on her. She didn't buy it for look. She bought it just to have protection.
I would say, yeah, so like a 9mm. That's the perfect protection weapon. She pulls out her 9mm. She fills this person with holes.
What? She
bang,
shoots
bang,
him?
bang, bang. Shoots him,
Yes,
man.
this person, yeah, okay, fine, fair enough. She's a no-nonsense kind of gal.
Kicks her out of the truck, and then she stops. She stops
Did
the
she
truck.
collaborate? Did she listen?
Stops the truck, and she pulls out her phone and dials 911 because she just got attacked and she had to defend herself, so she wants to make sure everything's on the up and up.
I like the idea that she calls 911, and then whenever she calls 911, 911 responds normally. A reader might think 911 is probably not going to be operable. They're going to be too busy. But this 911 operator is actually infected too. And they're like, yeah, just come into the hospital. Everything will be okay, and we'll make sure everything's... They're like, well, I don't need to go to the hospital. Like, no, come to the hospital. We got to make sure you're okay. And she's like, that's odd. So does she actually go to the hospital? What do you think? Do you think that's what the 911 operator says? Like, if they're an infected person...
Yeah, I would say they're
or do you
infected,
think, or
and
do
they
you
try to
think they're
talk her
like,
into
come
going
to
to
the
hospital.
police station, we can file a report? What would make more sense?
I think they say come to the hospital first, and then when she says, no, I'm not the one injured, it's my attacker, I shot him. And they're like, okay, we'll come to the police station and file a report. And then like, no, why can't you send it off? And then the infected operator is like, okay, we'll send a agent out there momentarily.
What is your location? She gives her location.
Yeah.
Did we lose the idea of whenever she shoots the person and pushes him out, the person's chasing her?
I think she shoots the person and she kicks him out of the truck. He's on the ground, and she pulls ahead and stops. I guess, yeah. I guess the infected person would run up to the truck cab again and start banging on the door.
She pulls up ahead, and she's talking to the person. She looks through a rearview mirror and sees the person's going. She's like, he's getting up, he's running at me. And they're like, see if he's okay. And she's like,
Is he okay?
Like, I'm not gonna interact with this person. She's like, no, see if he's okay. Make sure everything's right. He's like, he's charging at me. I'm leaving. And like, no, you need to stay and make sure everything's all right with him. And then she's like, no, I'm leaving. They're like, So she leaves, and the person's still chasing her, and like, you need to come to the police station. I want it to seem super sketchy. Like, to the reader, I'm not gonna announce that this person is, obviously the people listening, they're gonna get that, but to the reader, I'm not gonna announce that this person is on the phone is infected. But I want to make sure that feeling is evident there, so they can kind of pick it up on their own.
That sounds better.
So do you think is the person, so like, how long does this interaction happen? How does it end?
I think it ends with her driving off, like you said. They asked her to come to the police station by the end of it.
And does she go to the police station?
No, she goes to a Phillips station for a truck because her truck is running out of gas.
I think she would go to a Sphinx. Because they're making life easier.
So she goes to a Sphinx, the Phillips truck.
I was joking with the idea of the Sphinx, so, but whatever.
So she goes to a Phillips station. Maybe that is when we see the third god. Now, what kind of light is this new god projecting? I'm thinking like a neon sickly green, kind of like Fail energy in World of Warcraft, kind of like that glow.
How do you feel about the idea of it starts to rain, and it's raining like this green, thick, slime, oozy looking stuff? Like, she's like turning on her windshield wipers, and it's
kind of like sewage.
Yeah, it's like raining sewage.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, I like that. Instead of a light, there's a sewage, and then she's like, "What the hell?" And she
what in tarnation?
Looks up. She pulls over, looks up, and then we get our first glance at our third god. So, what kind of god is this? I'm thinking a kind of like a Sagittarius type god, like a human torso and a horse body.
So a centaur?
Yeah, kind of like a centaur, but instead of a horse body, it's like a spider body or a
okay, so
insect type body.
I've seen this before. I know what you're talking about, but like a humanoid body attached to a spider. Instead of a head, it has a human torso and head and arms.
Mm-hmm.
So is that its original form, or are we just past going into detail with original forms?
No, I think this is its original form. So it's gonna devolve into
I would
even
say
worse
let's
things.
class it up a bit, keeping the same form, but making that form not seem as terrible.
Okay.
So I'm imagining its colors are green then, right?
Yeah,
So,
green, yellow.
So I would say like it's wearing like robes at least. This is the only thing I think of to class it up a bit. The human form is attractive, and the spider form of it's not attractive just because it's spidery. It's kind of like almost like let's say it's like a goldish yellow color, so it almost looks like it's made of gold. Like almost, let's say it's wearing armor. Let's say it's wearing like. So just picture, what color do you think it's? Do you think it's like spider, or do you like a black?
I would say like an amber, like a wheat color, like a golden amber.
Okay, so we'll just say it matches the flesh, like the human part of it, right? Like an ambery wheat color. And then I would say it's kind of adorned in like it's wearing like a robe, covers the arms, and then like just kind of goes over the back of it. And that's kind of how I'm picturing it. And it's wearing a helmet as well, like a helmet that has like the Roman, like the mohawk thing. And that's what so that's what I see it as. I would say it carries its weapon of choice, which we haven't done that yet. I would say is a bow. But it takes its bow, pulls back a arrow, releases it into the sky, and it splits and spreads into this mist type stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, I agree. I like that.
I like that because it brings it back more to like the Greek Pantheon kind of feeling.
So what is this de-evolution? I say it spouts like a stinger on the back of its abdomen.
Keep this poisonous kind of idea going.
And then it becomes more spidery. Like it starts having these pincers at the start of its mouth. The spider form becomes more grotesque. It starts spouting spines, quills maybe, like a hedgehog.
Poisonous barbs start kind of like spouting from the back and legs and stuff. Like I think spiders kind of have like little barbs coming off their legs, but this one it comes out and is more pronounced.
Yeah,
and I would say as that's
and
happening,
like that.
Some parts of the armor actually break off. Some of them stay and it's just pierced by the barbs. So it has like part of it has armor, part of it doesn't. Part of it has armor like halfway down the barbs and stuff like that.
Like like I said, it has pincers at the mouth. Its mouth slowly starts to deform into.
So you would say it's still a human head, but with pincer on the mouth, like that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, did we talk about a name yet?
Okay, we did not talk
so
about
the name
What's
that
the
I
name?
have right now, and we can workshop this, is Cezeril.
Cezeril? I like Cezeril. I really like that name a lot. Cezeril. All right. That was part 2 of Pantheon's Verdict. A lot of stuff done with Holly. We came up with a new character named Charlie. Oscar, he is decidedly the captain of the ship. Not a lot done with him, but he's gonna be the main focus probably in part 3.
Got a lot that's going to happen with him. I think a lot of what's going on is eventually he's going to become the focal point, I feel like, in a certain way.
We still got 2 more gods to introduce, and I hope you like the 2 gods we did introduce. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed Pantheon's Verdict Part 2. And I'm feeling fine, by the way, after that old 6-year Yingling.
That's
Tell
good.
me how
I'm
you
feeling
feeling.
good.
We kind of touched on this. We thought that this would be longer than a 3-parter, but we don't want to make it longer than a 3-parter. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish up what we can in the next part, do a dramatization, and then if you like it enough, we'll continue the story with a new dramatization.
Yeah, we can come back whenever we're gonna do this story. We're gonna finish the 3 parts and move on to another story upon any request or any thoughts or anything. I think once the dramatization comes out, I think the full story will really get realized. I think that's going to be a big deal for not only us in the podcast, but for the listeners as well. I think it's going to be a big, really looking forward to that. So I think at that point, if you guys want to hear it again, if you want to see us come up with new stuff or finish this story, let us know. But that's how we're going to kind of move with these things. Give them 3 parts, do the dramatization, come back to it when you guys want it. Go ahead and plug as always. Go ahead and hit us up on our social media pages. We got Facebook and Twitter currently, and also this YouTube channel, and eventually at some point Instagram. There'll be links in the description down below, so check those out and come and hit us up. Give us a like and share. The more engagement we get from you guys, the more we're going to be able to engage with you guys as well. So try to keep it as active as we can, but we need some help to make sure this community is growing and we can really start building something here before the launch, so the launch is as good as we want it to be.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for checking us out. Have a good night.
See ya.